Well, hey everybody, I got done with my work day and back at the shop here, and I don't know if you can hear it, but it's raining like crazy out there. So anyway, what I got going on right now is I finished up this axe the other day, and I had this guy. This is my old standby. It's that one I forced the patina on here and rehung. Love this guy. Had it for a long time. But one thing I noticed is they're very similar, and actually the cutting edges on the top here are exactly the same. Now this little hatchet here, as you can see, is a little smaller than the pole is smaller. But the cutting edge, right there, I'm holding them together, and everything seems to be just lining up perfect. So I made a sheath or a head cover mask for this guy I don't know, not several years ago, but at least a year ago, I guess. And kind of like it, you know, just protects the edge, protects it against me and my gear, and it's been working out just fine. So what I did is I slipped it on this axe here, and I think it fits this axe even better. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use this for a pattern, and I'm going to build one just like it. Probably going to forego the rivets on this one. I think what I'll do is I'll welt this one and double stitch it. And anyway, here's an idea I got from a fellow axe enthusiast, and I think I'll copy what he did because I sure like the looks of it. So let's get started with that. I actually got a couple of projects going on. I was going over some gear that I used here not too long ago, and I pulled my little Mora knife out of its sheath, and I had cut some mushrooms with it, some chanterelles here during hunting season, and it stained it, and it really looked ugly. So what I did is I thought, well, I'll force a patina on it, and I put some mustard on it and left it on there all day, and didn't much care for it. So it's got a little bit of the remnants of that mustard patina on it, but I've got it in a little jug of vinegar, and it's been soaking while I've been working today. I put that tape on it, not to protect much of anything, but just as a stop, so the handle wouldn't go too far down in there, and the vinegar is just up to the bolster there. So anyway, that's what I got going on. So see what that looks like in a bit. In the meantime, I'll get set up and let's get to cutting some leather. Stand by. Well, I got my pattern marked out here, and you know, I got a pretty heavy piece of leather here, and it's rolled up most usually, and it's got a lot of memory in it. So what I do is I got a couple of sand-filled shooting bags I have, just old shot bags that I filled with sand and sealed them off, and I use those to hold my leather down while I'm working, and they work just fine. So got my patterns marked out. I'm going to go ahead and cut this, and then I got a smaller piece to work with. So that's boring, so stand by. Well, I'm trying something a little different this time. I've never used a utility knife for this project, but giving it a go, and it seems to be working pretty good. So I got my first one cut out, and so I thought I'd just show you how I'm going to do this. It's got a nice new blade in it, and seems to be cutting pretty darn good. That got it first cut. So did trace this off that other head cover, and you know, I did make it just a slight bit larger. I used the thickness of the pin there to make it just a little bit bigger. So, well, anyway, so that's kind of what I got so far, and that's going to be the fold. And so I'm going to get that all fixed up and marked out for our stitches and cut the welt. Stick around. Well, there we go. Got my pieces cut out, so I think what I'll do next is put some adhesive on these things and get this thing start to go together like that. So looking pretty good. Okay. Looks a little odd now, but it'll come around. Okay, well, I just took my pen and marked out where that welt's gonna land in there. So just take a little contact adhesive, and it's just to hold your work steady while you're putting things together, and marking your stitching and drilling your putting your stitch holes in, and so it's just very helpful. This is the way I do it. Seen a few other guys do it this way, and works well. Just put a nice light coat on the surfaces that you want to stick together. So as you can see there, maybe you can see I did mark where the welt's going to go, so you don't have to spend a bunch of extra adhesive. And then you do both sides of this welt. That way it adheres. Get a little coat on there. Normally I have a piece of cardboard or something down here, and I forgot to grab one, so I'm going to try to do this without making a mess, getting it on this cutting surface down here, because then it marks up your work. So alright, well, got a nice little coat on there. It takes just a minute for that to set up, and then you can start putting things together. Okay, well, this adhesive is set up, and it is just that. It's contact adhesive, so when you put it on, that's where it's at. So I'm going to start right down here, set it. Okay, come on. Just like so. Okay. Now I did taper this top corner here, and I didn't run it all the way to the edge because I don't want a big old fat, let's see, big old fat chunk there where this is going to fold over. So there'll be a little bit of trimming, but I did shave the welt on the back side there so to kind of taper down. And so that's what we got. You just do the same thing here. There will be some trimming to be done, just like so. Okay. Got it sandwiched together. Alright. Get the stitch spacing marked and the stitches ready to put in here in a minute. Well, this sheath is just kind of a down and dirty sheath, you know. Got it together. Got these little dividers. This is what I use to mark the distance I want my stitching from the edge and my second row. So I just do it like this, run along there like so. That will be the distance my stitching is from the edge here. I don't have a lot of the proper tools I need yet. Kind of just pick them up as I go. Christmas is coming and I've asked for a couple of things, and maybe that will come around Christmas time, but I want a stitch groover, and it's probably something that really need to do this, but I'm anxious to get this done. You know, what the heck, I'll make another one if I have to, but I think that's an important tool to have. I'd like to have a, oh, what else do I want? I don't know. I think I got a few of the tools, but stitch groover would be great. Anyway, let's see what happens next. Well, I've set these dividers for the second set of stitching I want, and same thing, just hook the edge there, bring them down, just make a scratch. Keep these ends parallel with each other. They'll kind of hold a true line. Don't try to get one ahead of the other or bury this one over the edge too far. Then it's not going to be spaced evenly. So there I go. I've got my outer stitching and my inner stitching, so that's where they'll go. Alright. Okay, now that I got that done, this will space the stitching equally. That's the stitches that, so you don't have a big gap, big little distance between your stitching. So instead of starting right on the edge here, I move in with the first little star here, move in just slightly, because you don't want your stitch right out here on the edge where your leather's going to tear and stuff. And you just put that in there, and then you just follow that line that you made and just kind of push down on it. Now I've seen guys dampen the leather to do this, and that's probably a smart idea, but I don't, it hasn't been necessary for me. So you just put the star in there and push, 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 follow that around to there. Then you turn the corner and you put one there and straight on out, just like that. So I'll set up the other one and we'll punch our holes. And I'm just checking it out here. Looks like things are coming together nicely. It's going to fit perfect. That this sheath, I did not put a welt in it. I used rivets, and so that's why I made this one just slightly bigger, and so I could accommodate for that welt. And looks like everything's going to fit just fine. So everything's coming around, looking good. This is the fold. It'll fold over. Okay, well, got those stitch marks in there, and so I guess what I'm ready to do is I'm ready to do these holes. And I've used a drill, my drill press with a little tiny drill bit in it, and I was not happy with it. I've tried to use an awl, and I just don't have the right awl to do that. So what I've done is I've taken a needle, a leather needle, and I've chucked it up in my tabletop drill press, and I got a little wax there that I put on it so it slides through easy, and I found that does the best job. It doesn't mushroom the hole out, it doesn't fray the hole. I can lay that on there, and I just press these holes in with my drill press, and it's clear on the other side of the shop. I'm not going to bore you with that because it's repetitious. Explained it to you. Just punch the holes in. We've got them marked. I try to hit each one of these center, and it makes the stitching look pretty good when you get to stitching. So I'm no pro at this. This is just something I'm learning how to do. So I'm using the tools I have and getting her done. So next step, drill the holes. Over now. Oh yeah, one thing I wanted to mention is this thing kind of intimidates me. I haven't quite mastered it yet. It's a little beveling tool, and bevels the edge of your leather, and I like the look of that, but I've yet to master it. But you know what? I'm not going to give up on it, so I'm just going to do this, and I'm going to run a little bevel around the edge here. Just like that. Just kind of cleans things up, gets rid of that feathery, fluffy stuff, and I think I'm learning not to push so hard on it, because man, you can really take too much leather off with it. So kind of goofed around with it a little bit, and yeah, it'll all clean up regardless. See, I got a little deep there, but you know, okay. That's kind of what that does. It just kind of bevels that edge over a little bit. When I brandish all this out, it'll all look fine. So do the other side. I did the inside already. I kind of practiced on it a little bit. I've tried this a few times and not really been happy with it, but I'm going to keep using it. It's a necessary tool. So do the other side now. Well, as you see, I got my holes in, and pretty happy with them. One thing I do after I do that, I go over it a couple more times with this spacer. It just kind of helps take any of the swell or the pucker out, you know. Man, I need a groover, a stitch groover. Come on, Santa Claus. Anyway, so I do that front and back, and go over it a few times with that, kind of push it down. Stitch groover, what it does is it runs a groove. Instead of using these dividers here to mark spaces, it has an edge that hooks here on this edge, and as you run it, it cuts a groove down there. So what it does is when you lay your stitches in, it puts it flush or below the surface of the leather, so as your axe rubs and against things and stuff, it doesn't wear the stitching off and then your sheath come apart. So what it does is it buries the stitch, so all the abrasion and all the wear and tear goes on the leather and not on the stitch. So that's kind of why I need that. But you know, like I said, if I need to build another one, I'll build another one. But like this one's lasted me, you know, and I haven't had to fix the stitches in it, you know. So, but anyway, I think I'm gonna give up for tonight. It's getting late, tired, and my hands are getting sore. Can't hardly grip anything anymore. So I'll probably cut this into a couple of parts, and anyway, that's as far as I got. So thanks for sticking around, and we'll continue on tomorrow. Thanks again. Over and out.